It's strange how some people can appear completely normal on the surface, kind, charming, even magnetic. They might smile in a way that disarms you, speak with calm confidence, and seem to read you like an open book. But something inside you hesitates. You don't know why, yet you feel a quiet pull of discomfort. Carl Jung once said that what we find most unsettling in others is often a mirror of what's hidden within ourselves. But sometimes that feeling is not projection. It's intuition, warning you that something isn't right. You see, the most dangerous personalities rarely look dangerous at all. They blend in perfectly, adapting like social chameleons. They study people not out of empathy, but as a form of control. They don't just lie to others, they build entire identities out of illusions. Jung called this the persona, the social mask we wear to survive in the world. For most people, the mask is harmless. It helps us fit into different situations. But for certain individuals, the mask becomes everything. They invest so deeply in it that their true self disappears underneath. When you meet someone like this, they often seem too perfect. They say exactly what you need to hear, act exactly how you wish someone would act. At first, it feels refreshing, like finally meeting a person who understands you completely. But this is where Jung's method becomes crucial. Always pay attention to your emotional reaction, not their performance. The dangerous personality thrives by manipulating emotion. Their charm is not spontaneous, it's strategic. Jung believed that what we suppress becomes dangerous. He called it the shadow, the dark side of our psyche that holds every impulse, insecurity, and desire we hide from others. In a healthy person, the shadow is acknowledged and balanced. But in a dangerous personality, it's denied completely. And when the shadow is denied, it doesn't disappear. It takes control from underneath. These people project their shadow outward. They accuse others of the very things they secretly feel inside. They might call others manipulative, untrustworthy, or selfish, while they themselves embody those exact traits. This is Jung's idea of projection, the unconscious act of throwing our own darkness onto others so we can remain blind to it. You'll often notice this pattern in subtle ways. They may always play the victim, even when they're the one causing harm. They twist stories, rewrite memories, and shift blame until you start doubting yourself. Jung said the unconscious seeks to be recognized, and if it isn't, it manifests through external conflict. In other words, when someone refuses to see their own darkness, they create chaos around them to force others to carry it for them. That's why the most dangerous people are not those who openly express anger or flaws, but those who hide behind masks of goodness, humility, or care. They weaponize kindness. They know how empathy works and use it as leverage. They can turn compassion into control. And it's subtle. They don't shout or threaten. They slowly shape your reality until you can't trust your own perception. You start to believe that every issue is your fault. They turn your natural empathy into a weapon against yourself. Jung warned that the first sign of manipulation is confusion. When someone's presence constantly leaves you questioning your own thoughts or feeling emotionally drained, something deeper is happening. Such people often operate in cycles. The cycle begins with idealization. They make you feel special, chosen, understood. Then comes devaluation, sudden coldness, withdrawal, silent punishments. You don't know what changed, but you start chasing their approval, trying to return to the warmth they once gave you. Finally, there's discard. They detach completely as if you never mattered, and yet somehow you still crave their validation. This is not love, it's psychological conditioning. Jung's framework helps us decode these patterns. He believed that people like this are unconsciously ruled by their shadow. Because they refuse to face it, they need others to live it out for them. They are both terrified of their own darkness and addicted to it. Their relationships become mirrors reflecting the war inside them. You'll notice they often have a strong need to control narratives. They fear being seen for who they are, so they control how others see them. They tell stories where they're always misunderstood or betrayed. They constantly shift between victimhood and superiority, depending on what serves their ego at that moment. Jung's advice was not to fight such people, but to see them clearly. Awareness is your greatest defense. When you see through their mask, you take away their power. Dangerous personalities feed off emotional energy, confusion, guilt, admiration, or fear. Once you stop supplying that energy, their control begins to crumble. But this isn't just about others. Jung's deeper insight was that every human carries a shadow, and until we recognize our own, we'll keep attracting people who reflect it. The more you repress your anger, the more likely you are to tolerate those who abuse it. The more you deny your desire for control, the easier it is for someone else to control you. That's the trap. The dangerous personality thrives in people who avoid conflict. They target those who want peace at any cost. They test boundaries subtly, a sarcastic joke, a dismissive tone, a guilt trip. If you let it slide once, they push further. Each small compromise erodes your sense of self. Jung wrote that what you accept unconsciously becomes your fate. And that's why awareness must come before forgiveness, before compassion, before any attempt to fix the other person. When you encounter someone who drains your energy or constantly leaves you doubting your worth, don't rush to label them evil. Instead, slow down and observe. Dangerous personalities often reveal themselves not in grand gestures but in patterns. Do they take responsibility when they hurt others, or do they always shift blame? Do they respect boundaries when you assert them, or do they find ways to cross them anyway? Do they make you feel free or subtly controlled? These small clues tell the truth long before words do. Jung believed that the unconscious communicates through emotion and that our intuition, that gut feeling, is often the psyche's alarm system. If you feel uneasy around someone without knowing why, trust that feeling. Don't rationalize it away. The dangerous personality thrives when you silence your intuition. Another hallmark Jung pointed to is the split between public and private behavior. These people often maintain a perfect image in front of others, kind, generous, intelligent, but behind closed doors, they reveal contempt or coldness. That duality is their survival mechanism. They fear authenticity because it would expose their emptiness. Jung described this as inflation, when the ego expands unnaturally, identifying with an idealized self-image. But an inflated ego eventually collapses, often taking everyone around it down, too. They may also show signs of psychological possession, when a single emotion or archetype dominates the person entirely. One day they might act like a savior, another like a persecutor, another like a helpless child. Each role serves to keep others unbalanced. Jung warned that the more disconnected someone is from their inner self, the more they will unconsciously manipulate others to fulfill that missing part. In a way, these individuals are both dangerous and deeply lost. Beneath their control lies a fragile identity built on fear. They can't face who they are without collapsing. So they survive by keeping everyone around them off balance. The tragedy is that they destroy the very connection they crave. Jung's method to spot such people wasn't about diagnosing or judging them. It was about recognizing the energy behind behavior. Pay attention to how you feel after being around someone. Do you feel grounded or anxious, seen or invisible, energized or drained? The psyche speaks through these reactions long before the mind can make sense of them. And the real work, Jung said, isn't just identifying dangerous personalities, but ensuring we don't become one ourselves. Because danger begins where self-awareness ends. Every person carries the potential for manipulation, denial, and control. The difference is whether we choose to see it or hide from it. When you start noticing these patterns, you'll also see them everywhere, in relationships, workplaces, even leaders and public figures. It's easy to point fingers, but Jung's message was humbling. The outer world mirrors our inner one. The only way to stop attracting or enabling dangerous personalities is to integrate our own shadow, to own our flaws before they own us. Integration means honesty. It means admitting when you feel jealousy, anger, or the desire to control. When you own these emotions consciously, they lose power. You stop projecting them onto others, and you become less vulnerable to those who exploit them. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So, how do you spot a dangerous personality? You look beyond charm. You listen to your discomfort. You watch for patterns, not promises. You measure words against actions. You pay attention to energy, not appearance. And above all, you stay connected to yourself, because manipulation only works when you're disconnected. The moment you begin to see clearly, you stop participating in their illusion. You start responding instead of reacting. You start protecting your peace instead of explaining your worth. And in that clarity, their power dissolves. Jung believed that the greatest form of strength is self-awareness, not aggression, not dominance, but the quiet courage to see things as they truly are. Dangerous people will always exist, but when you understand their patterns through Jung's lens, you stop being afraid of them. You see through them, and once you can see clearly, you're free.